your attention is James.
Thanks so much for making it out today for the all-members meeting of the Village's Democratic Club. I do appreciate it. And we are going to be running on a time schedule today. The reason for that is that we have a rally that's going to be going on. We're right outside here, and that will be taking place at 11 o'clock sharp. So let me start it off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For all. And I would also like to mention a moment of silence for, it was 8 years ago that the Parkland school shooting took place, in which 17 youngsters,
That's in the back.
teachers and staff, 17 people were killed and another 17 were injured. And that was 8 years ago, and we're still dealing with the ramifications of the shockwaves from that. We had originally scheduled, or let me back up and just mention the following. Our guest speaker today is Royal Webster. He spoke back in December. And what transpired is that we had 4 different people speaking. He was the last person. And 3 of the people, me included, talked too long. He was at the tail end of it. He got squeezed as far as time, but he never said a word about it. He was full about it. Happened to have a conversation. He wanted to know if he could make it to this meeting just to sit, and attend. I said, sure. I said, oh, by the way, would you be interested in speaking? And he said, oh. I told him, so anyway, so that's why he's here. We had originally scheduled he mentioned about a Parkland teacher who was going to speak. She thought about it, and just could not, on just being an anniversary, she passed on it. And I totally understand. So, with that in mind, in order to keep people on track, I'm the only speaker until 10:25, I brought a horn. Okay? And I'm going to hand it to Webster because it's in his vested interest to get me off stage here. So, Webster, you're the timekeeper, and don't be shy. And for the rally today, perfect. It's what I want to mention about, we've done some different things for the rally. We've done a few different signs that are over here, and what we're going to do is after Royal speaks, we're going to do a photo with Royal, and if you can, just grab one of the signs and we'll meet in front of the table and we'll get a picture. So that way he has a nice group photo of us standing with him with the signs of the different meetings. These signs are yours, all right? So if you see a sign you like, just take them with you. Use them for this rally or any other rallies in the future. And these signs are really, really well trained. Not only can you hold them like this, but the clips come off and you can put this very sign on the back of your golf cart. Oh. So when we start doing the golf cart rallies, you have a sign that knows how to go on the back of the golf cart, but also on the sign, on the sign holder. Now, some of the other magic we've been doing with this, experimenting-wise. Are you ready for this?
And our great-grandkids.
That makes it easier if you're out there holding the sign up, you can actually lean on it. I noticed there's something at the top here, right? What can you do with that? We have about 8 of these extension poles, and they are on the left-hand side by the stairs. So feel free to try them out. Give me some feedback if they're the right height or not. So anyway, the whole idea is to make it so that's easier at the rallies and things of that nature. We do have a rally today. We also are going to be having a golf cart rally on March 1st, which is a Sunday. So that's in about 2 weeks. And we're going to be working out the details and be posting about it. And then finally, the other rally that's taking place is the No Kings Rally. And that's going to be on March 28th.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a national rally. That is going to be huge. This will be the first one they've had in a couple months because of weather, but they expect a large turnout. We'll be involved in different capacities with that. So just wanted to mention that one of the recent duties that I've undertaken is the speakers, or making arrangements for speakers. So what I did is I said, okay, how do you go about doing that? Is there any footprints in the snow to follow? And if we go to the next first slide, is that, let's see. And what we're doing is that.
It's not working, hang on.
Okay, no problem. All good. So I have a couple of minutes to basically talk about different subjects. I just want to mention about the calendar of what's coming up. Because we're now into 2026, so we're now doing this election year. So the question is, what do we do with our time between now and election year, or election coming up in November? The other is that these are the other three items that if I have enough time I'll get after, but the horn honks, I'm out. Okay, so next slide please. So we did a look at the calendar. This is, I've been involved with numerous campaigns in the years going back to Mondale, all right? But you know, they were going on, unless you keep a calendar around, time could go by very, very quickly. And so today is what, the 14th? And approximately, what's 14 plus 17, I think it's like 30 days, something like that? The first election, pardon me, it's 17 days, and that's out there. On March 3rd is when the first primaries occur nationally throughout the country. Okay, that will start getting media attention. That will also bring things to the forefront as far as people's awareness of political things. So things are going to start heating up very, very quickly in other states, and with that, it will be covered by the media. So this I will be updating every month. It's a countdown calendar, and you can see on August 18th, 185 days from now, is when the primary is for Florida. We will have this information up on our website too. All right. The other things to remember on this is that in the bottom, this is Florida centric, if you will, in the bottom. The yellow is the file by date. In other words, you can still file to run between now and April 20th? April 20th. So, guess how many people are running who have filed to run for governor in Florida? 4-0. About 40. So, if anybody here has not filed to run, please raise your hand. The other important day, of course, is the primary on the August 18th, and in a very short time period after that, it's like a sprint, is the actual general election. So Florida is real compressed, given that the primary is held at that late time period. Okay, with that in mind, next slide, please. So we put together a calendar. How many more monthly meetings will we be having like that? That's what this represents on the left-hand side. And we have 8 meetings left after today. 8. Okay. We already have, we're always trying to plan speakers ahead of time. Like I said, I just recently got all this activity or responsibility. So it's like, okay, how many times do we meet? And I want to have it so that we can have 2 speakers per session. Okay, so that we don't wind up with things being too crunched. The other is that we are focused on, okay, people are running for office, it might be a good thing to have them in, especially before the primary. Okay? So, with that in mind, we said, all right, how many people are running for different positions? In the governor race, which is a statewide race, there's 10 Democrats that are out there. So, let me just say this. We have a total of 14 different slots, if you will, 14 different speakers that we can have in. That's a magic number. We can't change that, 14. So, when you start looking at, there's 10 Democrats who are running for governor, 10 out of 14. Oops, how much is left? 4. Okay. Attorney General, 2. I thought people might be interested in Attorney General simply because of Pam Bondi. The other is that for the U.S. Senate, there's 10 Democrats that are registered, or that are on, that right now, that look like they're gonna actually be on the ballot for, again, the primary. This is, again, a state of flux, and there's still more people who can jump on between now and, the April 20th. So, things will stay in flux, but I just want to give you an idea that there's quite a few folks. So we have to figure out who do we have, who can we send invitations to, and how do we balance that so it's fairness, okay? So we need to work that out in the board was. When you start, and that's just the statewide races. That's not taking into account U.S. Congress. The villages is very large. There are 2 congressional districts that go into the villages. By far the largest is District 11, okay? And that's going to be basically Sumter and Sumter County. And the northern part of the villages is where the other congressional district comes in, and that's District 6. And there's 4 Democrats that are running in that congressional district, and one of them are going to be a speaker next month. So let's be able to try and get a representation. Yes?
Is that district in Marion County or Lake County?
That's it. Both. Yeah. It picks up, other part. Hang on for just a second. Let me think this one through. It taps into some of the lake. Because when I put the map together, because of the special election last April, we didn't know where the lines were. So I basically got in there page by page and put together a series of pictures on it. It's basically Spanish Square. If you're in Spanish Square north, you're in that other district. El Camino, okay, Nancy Lopez, you're also in that district. So it's the northern portion. And again, we're just on the congressional. We haven't even gotten to the state elections, okay, that are taking place. So we have Florida State, and we have Florida House districts. Okay, we don't know how many people have filed on those. Right now, the best data I have, I didn't want to publish it, okay? But I'm trying to say is there are a lot of people running. We have to figure out how we get the speakers in, okay? And then finally, we're not even talking about county or any sort of special elections, things of that nature. And when you finally get into the other, is that what are topical type of things, okay? What appears to be the #1 issue in the national election coming up? Economics, all right? So I'll talk about that, but not today, but just a little bit about today. But what I'm doing is keep a little bit of that in the background because that cuts across all elections that are out there. And consumer confidence. Next slide, please. Just to give you an idea, we'll go through these very quickly. This is for governor. This is from Ballotpedia that I just recently pulled. The blue is the Democrats that are running. The red is the Republicans. And you got third parties that are out there. You see how many third parties. I don't think it costs that much to run. I think some people say, you know what, for a couple grand, I want my name on it. But what did catch my attention was that you have a libertarian on a statewide ballot. And in a close election, that can be a material factor.
Right.
Next slide, please. This is the Senate, U.S. Senate. This is Rubio's position that after Rubio, he had to have, so his person's in that spot, but they have to have an election. That's going to be on this election cycle. We have about, right there, 10 Democrats, 6 Republicans, and 1 third party, non-party affiliation, no libertarian. And once again, April 20th, you can still file on. Next slide, please. This is the last of the statewide elections. This is the Attorney General. Pam is not on here. Next, please. Okay, this is congressional district overview. This is important because we have Royal Webster who's running for office in Florida, number 11, which is, I lost my wife's Swiffer. Okay, sorry, back to 6. Okay, so this district, this entire district is 11, and this is the other district that has Randy Fine that's up here. Okay. So those are the 2 congressional districts that bump into the villages. So I host these meetings on a monthly basis for new members to the club. There's roughly about 10 to 20 people that show up at those. And it's interesting as far as trying to explain the villages to them. So I hope a lot of this is useful information. Anyway, let's go to the next slide, please. This is going after the congressional candidates. Okay, so in the Fines district, if you will, we have 4 Democrats that are running, and here's the names. And the reason for the arrow, that means Ronnie is already signed up for next month to speak here. This is Congressional District 11, and we have Royal Webster here today. To get more of the folks in to be able to speak and be able to meet us, so that's going to be rather important. And then finally, we have the Congressional District 12. Even though it doesn't bump into the villages, it's not that far away. Next slide, please. This is the Senate District, okay? And it, basically, the majority of it is in Sumter. We don't have anybody filing that I'm aware of at this point. And it actually spills into Marion, and the best I can tell, a little piece of it is over in Lake, okay? But the whole idea is that you have to know what district you're in. If you're in the upper right corner of the villages, definitely double check to make sure you're in the right district, okay? Next slide, please. These are the people, again, that are running for the different districts, for those 3 districts I just mentioned about. Nobody's filed as of today, but again, they have till April 20th. Next slide, please. This is the House District. Next slide. Again, this is a Florida House District. Okay, next one. This is being built out. Ran out of time, sorry. Okay, that concludes it. I just want to give you an idea that yes, we are planning about having different speakers in. We want to have a little bit of a strategic plan as far as time-wise, keeping track of when that everybody gets a fair shake, if you will. Going on to economics, this will be fast forward. Next one, please. Okay, what's going on with the price of lettuce? Okay. Price of lettuce has actually dropped down. And they kind of go, oh, it went from here down to here. But you know what? It's still back at the same level it was back in June of 24. You know, what did Trump say he's going to do? He's going to lower prices. All right? So this is what happens when you let ice out. Okay, there goes your labor force, all right? And yeah, they've been able to recover from that. By the way, Arizona, ice is basically running around in Salinas, California area, Monterey. This time of year, a lot of the lettuce is grown in Arizona, so they have, they're basically being able to bring more back online. Okay, so that is Target. Walmart has a very similar shape as Target. And then over in the far right is Publix. I don't know if the guy who's doing the pricing or the gal who's doing the pricing or the fresh fruit, veggies, I don't know if they're actually doing a price competitive thing. Maybe they think with Winn-Dixie being done. I don't know. But anyway, you haven't seen a movement on there. What you find with a lot of variation, and I go to the same 3 stores, get 6 different products, so that way I got consistency. That same product is in all 3 stores. I also, on a quarterly basis, look for 39 products. It's more time consuming, but I'll be able to roll those out as we get further into the selection cycle. Next slide. Orange juice. Anybody here drink orange juice? You're in Florida. It might be kind of important. What's going on with prices? On day one, I'm going to reduce prices in the supermarkets. Well, got the same issue going on. Thank you. Let's go to the next slide. These are the key economic calendar. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but just to mention that the yellow area, June through October, historically is your most important economics months. So that's when the most important data is released. So I'll be bringing that up as we get into those months. I won't bore you with all the other stuff. All right, promise. Next slide. Where do you find this information? What's the name of our website? The Villages, plural, Democrats. Okay? And on that, on the main slide, okay, there's the name of it. You hit the news and economics and perspective. Economics is down here. What do we got? Grocery store prices. So every screen you see here is on the website. We keep it up very current, every month updated. And the whole idea is so you'll have real life time information so that if you're talking to your neighbors and stuff, or if you're talking to a friend or another Democrat or Republican and saying, hey, here's the reality, guys. So anyway, that's the reason we're doing that. Next slide, please. Okay, on to, has anybody heard about the special elections and the point spread? Do anybody hear? You know, does everybody follow it? Okay. I was wrestling with it, to tell you the truth. I heard about like, a 20-point spread. It's like, what? So anyway, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough. Hit fast forward if you want to, and I'll move along. Here's the 5 districts that they had special elections in 25. Okay, and so this was the November election prior to the special. The special's over here in that box. The map behind it. When they talk about the spread, they're talking about the yellow bar. I like to look at the green bar, and I'll explain why. All right, and what's the difference between them? The green is taking the yellow divided by 2. So when you hear there's been a 20-point spread change, what they're referring to is both one person went up, the other person went down, and they count both ends of it. I'm sort of like, I don't know, most people think that way. And what I do is the following. I take that total spread divided by 2, we go on the next slide. So, this is the last election, pardon me, the November of 24 election, okay? And this is from District 11, by the way, okay? Congressional wise. It was a 60-40, that leaves you with a 20-point spread, right? And then I need the following numbers up, okay? Because, well, can we go back one slide? That's an important thing. Down here, what's this magic number down here? 8. Why is that important? That is how much, for all 5 congressional districts, that is how much has been changed. The total change, the net spread, was 16. But what I'm going to go after, take that and divide by 2, and I'll show you why that's really important. Next slide, thank you. So if you take that 8, okay, you go from 60 down to 52, okay? So if what has happened in these 5 congressional districts are indicative of what's taking place across the country, they're looking at about an 8-point drop, okay? I don't view it as the 16, I look at it as the 8. And the reason I view it, because I take it off, benchmark it off of 50. Because you need 50 to win. I want to see how much above or below 50.
Right.
Okay, so that's the reason why I divide by 2. And how can this come into play? Next slide, please. These are Florida's 2024 elections. Okay, these are congressional results. The red, Republican. So this person won by 71, the big one. And then we go over here. And, oh, there's a green bar. We'll come back to that. And what do we got here? We got 60, 57, oh, 60. Oh, that's District 11. And you go into these other ones. Oh, notice how they are now below 58. All right? So if they've lost 8, all right, somebody who had been at 58 or less, they're in trouble. They're watching the polls very carefully. They're out there going, in Houston, this doesn't look too good. Because nationally, we're seeing a movement of 8 off of that 50, okay? Now, those 5 special elections, the last one I think was in September or October. What has transpired since then? Can anybody spell Minneapolis? Okay.
Yeah.
Does that help? Okay. That's good for a couple points right there. So if I was concerned about 58, and I'm now going, uh-oh, it's probably worse. It could very well be a 10 or maybe even a 12. What I'm getting after, there's a lot of folks that have been safe up until recently, okay? Now let me ask you this. If the governor came up and said, you know what, we're gonna redistrict. And what we're gonna do for you Republicans that are in safe districts, we're gonna take some of your red, put it over into the blue district, because we want that blue district, and we're gonna take some of the blue and put it into your red. So overall, we're going to diminish or decrease the spread that you have. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm out there at 50, at 60, and you're doing what to me? In other words, we might actually see Republican incumbents who are in that bubble, okay, to the right of the green line, who may go, hey, I may not necessarily want to sign up for redistricting because that could have an adverse impact upon my ability to get reelected in November of 26. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. Next slide, please. What happens if they start doing special districts? Probably not special district. When they do redistricting. Guess whose district this is? Jim Jordan. That's right. All right. Notice how continuous it is. That franchise is from 2020, but the whole point is this is what happens when you start getting into gerrymandering. Okay, because you got to scoop like ice cream. You got to get a scooper in order to get the right mix that you need in your ice cream cone. So, what happens when they cherry pick out, they went around all the urban areas. That's the key thing when I saw this. All right, next slide. What happens to the demographics when you start doing that? You start getting the people you want in that district. It makes it a Republican and safe district, sure does. But notice how this is age. So this is under 18 to 64, over 60. There's really not a big variance between the United States, which is the blue, Ohio, the yellow line, and then district, Jordan's district, okay? So there's not a variation in the age distribution. But when you start looking at race, what's going on there? It's primarily white. They do not have much representation of Hispanics. Well, Ohio doesn't, and neither with black, okay? So you start getting demographic changes that are in there. High school, no major things. Veterans, no major things. But check what happens with your college, okay? This is the United States. 1/3 of the United States population has a BA degree. I don't know if that includes Trump University, but we're really in trouble. Ohio, 29%. Don't forget there's Ohio State and a whole bunch of other public colleges that are in Ohio. But check what Jordan's district is, 19. Okay? And what happens when you don't have a lot of college mixed in there? Income starts to reflect it. And home values. And if you want to get up, if you are living there and you wanted to move, you don't have the equity to move into another area. You don't exactly have a job, you don't have the income. It leaves you with it doesn't leave you with a lot of upside mobility. And the interesting thing is, remember when COVID hit? This is how I spend my time. I built this out for 435 congressional districts. This is a product, okay? But there were some real repeating patterns that came about. I could actually run these not knowing who the congressperson was until right away as this stuff started popping up. You could tell, oh, and you could tie right into, oh, how red is that? Okay. And this happens for a reason. That's why this is so important when you start doing the congressional redistricting, how we can wind up with districts that reflect certain all priority desired results. Next page, please. Okay. To be continued. Thank you. Everybody, thank you. Introduction to for Royal is that obviously he's running for the 11th district. He was born in Miami. Mom was Cuban. Dad passes away at 8 years old. My parents went different ways when I was 10. You build in a lot of resiliency, and how can I say, you wind up having to do a lot of things on your own. That's street smart. The other aspect of it is he does a lot of coaching, and he was in the U.S. Army right out of high school, and he campaigns on veterans issues as well as many other things, and he's a school teacher and coach. With that, Royal.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. So, my name is Royal Webster. Happy Valentine's Day. The guest speaker that was going to be here, Kim Krawchuk, is a very good friend of mine. When Bill asked me if I wanted to speak, I immediately sent to him saying, hey, that's the anniversary of Parkland. I have a friend that's a survivor. Would you want her to speak? She just can't do it yet. She can speak about it, but just not today.
I understand.
Right? And Bill was very gracious and understood. 372. 372 school shootings since Parkland. It's got to stop. It 100% has to stop. I'm going to go into a different direction here in a second. But I've met with Joaquin Oliver's parents. They're one of the people that their child died that day. Oh. To talk with them will break your heart. 372. It's unacceptable. And I promise you this, if I get to Washington, D.C., I'll take care of everything else. But that one issue, I will jump on people's desks. Because our youth deserve better.
Yes. Yeah.
Husband, a father, a vet, a teacher. For all those of you that are former educators, I have 6 preps. That means I have 6 different types of classes that I teach. So it makes for a long day. I coach. In fact, when I leave here, I'm going straight to Orlando We have a regional game for basketball. It's one of the things I coach. And if you're not doing anything tonight, because that game's at 1, but if you're not doing anything tonight, the Village's charter school has a 7 p.m. game tonight. They're a fantastic basketball team. On February 28th, if everything goes well, they'll be coming down to us to play on February 28th. And if you can go down there, last time we played, there was a charter bus. A whole bunch of people went from the Villages to support them. But I would love you guys, if we do play each other, to come down, support them, and meet the parents of the players I coach. Because they can tell you more about me than I can. And I'm very comfortable saying that because I know what I've done there. I know how much I've poured into them. On top of that, I coach boys volleyball at West Orange. I am the speech and debate coach for West Orange. I am the psychology club sponsor. I am the civil liberties sponsor. And I decided to run for the Florida 11th Congressional. And people ask me, how do you have time for that? How do you have time for all of that? You do one thing at a time. Just one. But you do all of them together. And that's one of the things that I want to bring to Washington, D.C. I think that the Democratic Party is responsive and is all over the place with their response to what the Republicans are doing. They're letting the Republicans set the tone. Now, I'll get back to that in a second, but a little bit about me and how I do things. I'm open to any questions. I do not deflect. By the way, did you know the Dow's at 50,000? I give you the most informed answer I have. And if I don't have the answer, I will get back to you, right? I will find information and get back to you. If I ask you to reach out to me to remind me, don't be scared, reach out. My card has my personal cell phone on it, right? You can reach out anytime you want. There was a question I was asked about 3.5 weeks ago. I didn't have the answer for her. As soon as I came in here, because I know she'd be here and I'm not gonna call her out, but as soon as I came in here, I found her and I gave her the answer. We can't know everything. All we need to do is know where to find the information and be honest. And then that leads me to the administration. When I joined the Army, I was in military intelligence my entire time. And Kenneth Rock, Chief Warrant Officer Rock, taught me something on how to think that was, for me, totally different. When you're in school and when you're growing up, everybody teaches you the first thing you have to do is identify the problem. What is the problem? He taught me, because we're dealing with humans, why is the problem? Yeah. Because what is great for stuff like math, science, but why is what matters when it's people. So why is this administration like this?
Yeah.
What is its purpose? But why does it do it this way? I'm going to go back to 1981. 1981, the current president, if you notice I try to avoid saying his name. The current president met Vince McMahon. If you know who Vince McMahon is, he's in charge and has been in charge, his entire family, for professional wrestling, the WWE. His wife is now the Department of Education, Secretary of Department of Education, which is, I can't find a funnier joke. But in 1988, they started to become really good friends. And in 1988, Donald Trump held at Trump Plaza WrestleMania, which is a huge event. They continue their relationship. The president is actually in the WWE Hall of Fame. You can look, please, anything I say, look it up, please. And then it got me to thinking.
Why?
He learned a lot from him. Because if you look at the administration, they run it exactly like professional wrestling. Grabbing your attention over here, escalating this over here. If this doesn't work, we drop that. But everything is about coverage. Everything is about heels and baby faces. I'm not a wrestling fan, but I've read a lot about it because I saw the similarity, so I wanted to become familiar with it. A heel is a villain, and a baby face is a hero. So they create all this stuff in this kayfabe reality. And the MAGA world eats it up. It eats it up so much that 2024, professional wrestling made $5 billion, more than any other year in the history of professional wrestling. And how do I know that this is what the president's doing? Because of the chaos. Because we're chasing the chaos. If it's not Minneapolis, it's Venezuela. If it's not Venezuela, it's ICE. If it's not ICE, it's something else. So how can you combat that? How does professional wrestling lose people's interest? Because that's the same way you're going to combat this administration. They can't become predictable. And once they become predictable, people start turning off. They can't, if they don't live up to their hype, people turn off. If they become too extreme, Renee Good, Alex Pray, they turn off, and that costs them. But the Democratic Party has to stay in front of them and predict where they're going. And even if they're wrong, just say it and say, look, these people are so predictable, this is what's going to happen next. And the two states, they're leaving Minneapolis, right? They're leaving Minneapolis. The two states I think they're going to go to, one or the other, one's going to be Maryland. It could be Columbia, the city of Columbia. It could be Prince George's County. It could be Gaithersburg, Silver Springs. It could be a couple of different cities. But I don't think it's going to be Maryland because of their governor. I love their governor. Phenomenal man. Phenomenal man. So where would they go next?
Pennsylvania?
Colorado. Colorado. And this is why. It's a blue state right now. Boulder has the University of Colorado. It's very liberal. Boulder, Colorado is very liberal. 20% of the population in Colorado is Hispanic. ICE can go there. The University of Colorado has a very high profile, outspoken football coach, Deion Sanders. That will attract attention. Why? Because he wants attention. He wants the media. And the media, regardless if it's MS Now, if it's CNN, Newsmax, Fox, they all love him because it brings up their ratings. I don't care what MS Now says, they love him because more people watch MS Now when he's in office because they want to know what craziness he's up to. So he drives up ratings for everything. He had 123 press conferences in the first 100 days of office last year. That's unheard of. The closest was Bill Clinton, and he was at 92, right? But that's what he thrives on, is the attention. So you have to be able to predict where he's going to. The Democratic Party has to say, look, this is where he's going to. He's so predictable. The next country, Cuba. Cuba, 100% Cuba. Why? Little Marco Rubio, right? Because, first of all, if you don't know anything about Marco Rubio's history, when he got into office, the first thing he did is lie. He said his family fled Fidel Castro. They did not. They fled Batista, which was the guy before Fidel Castro. How do I know? Mi madre cubana. Yo hablo español. Todos mis amigos creciendo eran cubanos. My mom is Cuban. I speak Spanish. All my friends growing up were Cuban. I speak both languages fluently. I went to Mass at 11 o'clock in English. And then I had to stay for Mass at 12:30 in Spanish. Because my mom brought me up bilingual 100%, right, on everything I did. But why Marco Rubio lied? Because most of the people in Miami and most of the people here actually fled Castro, but his family did not. How do I know his family didn't? And by the way, he admitted to it later on. But why do I know? Because everybody that fled Batista went to Tampa and created Ybor City. All the Cubans that fled Castro came to Miami, right? So my mom came in 1960. My father was over there actually, and my grandfather built the railroads. So we were kicked out, my family was kicked out before I was born because they kicked out all the Americans October of 1960. But we all came to Miami. And then the other thing about this guy, I get going after the immigrants that are here, whether they're naturalized or not, but that are major criminals. I understand that. If you are a narco trafficker for $75 million worth of cocaine, if you go to jail, I would think you would be on this administration's hit list by ICE. But not if you're Marco Rubio's brother-in-law. Which is what his brother-in-law, Orlando, did. He spent time in jail for trafficking $75 million worth of cocaine. But he's untouchable. We're not going to look at him. But the other reason I think that it's Cuba is because his ego, the president's ego, wants to be stroked every single day because he's a narcissist and he's a sociopath. One of the subjects I teach is psychology. And I can tell you, he is a narcissist and he is a sociopath. But he wants to be stroked, and that's how Putin dominates him. That's how other leaders in the world dominate him. But Cuba is easy because they're so hungry for anything in Cuba. Their literacy rate in Cuba is 97%, right? Which is compared to 72% here in the United States. So he wants that attention, and they're thriving for it. They've been held, and Venezuela was not a mistake. They're holding oil and not letting Cuba get any of the oil. That's the only place that Cuba was getting oil from, was Venezuela, because according to this administration, we did a regime change, which we did not. We took out Maduro. That wasn't the regime. The regime is Hugo Chavez's regime, who died 2012. Now, they say, well, he wasn't fairly elected. It was a bad election. It was a false election. So that's why we removed him. Well, Delcy Rodriguez, who's his vice president, was the same election.
Yeah.
And the person that really won that election was Corina Machado. Corina Machado. But he says she's not worthy. Why? Because she'll run away from him as soon as if she would get put in, she would run away from him. She lowered herself, not lowered herself. I don't think she lowered herself. I think she was so desperate to help her people, she was willing to give up her Nobel Peace Prize to him to please him, because she's that desperate to help her people. Nothing has changed in Venezuela. You cannot look up Venezuela protest on TikTok, but you can, because there's Owl Talk on TikTok, and it beats the algorithms. You can look up Venezuela Music Festival, because the people that put up stuff now on TikTok use code. And if you look up Venezuela protest, it won't give you anything. But if you look up Venezuela Music Festival, you'll see everything that's going on. Same as Cuba Music Festival. So music festival in TikTok is slang for protest. And they're smart to do that, because ever since TikTok changed owners, it's gotten very difficult to find stuff that's relevant. right? My campaign manager, Kathy Cannon, has 289,000 followers on TikTok. It's hard to find her now. Why? Because she's very outspoken against the administration. So it's hard to find her post now. I follow her. I have to search for her, right? And what used to get 20,000, 15,000 now gets 4,000, 3,000, and all much lower hits ever since TikTok changed owners. So they're manipulating not only the press, they're manipulating the social media to an incredible level, which gets me to my social media. On Facebook, it's elect Royal Webster. I post every day, no more than one thing. I'm told that what I write is way too long, that our attention span is not that long. Well, my students will tell you I don't do anything short. Right? I write. I articulate better written than I do verbally. Why? Because it's what I did in the Army. I wrote reports in military intelligence. But I write or I post a video every day, just one, maybe two if something happens. But please follow me on Facebook, on elect Royal Webster. My website is electroyalwebster.org, if you can go on there. And this is the hard part. So when I first started, when I first came up here, I said I was going to be different because politician's a dirty word. I am a politician. Why am I a politician? Because I signed a piece of paper that said I am. When people come up here, it doesn't matter who it is or where you're at in this country, first time they run, oh, I'm not a politician. Yeah, you are. You sign the paperwork, you're a politician. I'm trying to change what a politician looks like as far as morally, ethically. I'm trying to change the perception of what a politician is looked at now and what it could be and should be. President Truman said that a statesman is a politician that's been dead 5 to 10 years. I'm very much alive and I want to be considered a statesman. And everybody told me when I was running, when I first decided to run, that I had to do certain things. Find 3 to 4 topics and make them your campaign. I'm pretty defiant by nature. I don't like being told what to do. The reason I have a goatee is because the Army for many years told me I can't have facial hair. So as soon as I got out, I've had facial hair since I got out of the Army, since I got out of the military, because now they can't tell me that I can't have facial hair. And that's a victory for me. But they told me, pick 3 or 4 things. I decided on one, the American people. I'm not going to cubbyhole myself in one subject or one issue because there's too many. What's important to this group over here may not be important to this group over here, which may not be important to that group back there, which might not be the issue that drives them back there. We're intelligent people. The administration treats us differently. The Democratic Party at the national level and even state treats us differently. They don't think we're capable of handling more than one thing at a time. I'm saying to bring it. I'll take it all on. Every single one. If it's important to you, it's important to me. So I don't understand this thing of cubbyholing ourselves and saying, oh, Minneapolis. Oh, this over here. Oh, Venezuela. No, we can handle it all. Have some leadership at the national level, whether it's Chuck Schumer or Jeffries, and say, look, we have to divide and conquer. We have to give certain congressmen, certain senators, areas that you attack every single day. And every single one of you has to attack in the one kryptonite that this president has, and that's the Epstein files. That's why he keeps saying that it's a hoax. That's why he keeps saying that it's all a Democratic hoax, that it's not real. It's real.
Yeah. Move on.
But they deflect everything. And then they try to get you to look over here and have this match over here, like professional wrestling. Oh, we're gonna have this big match over here. Don't worry about this over here, right? That same attitude is what made him electable. To focus on the things he wants you to focus on. He might go down as the greatest con man of all time. Trump University, Trump State, Trump presidency, they're all cons. 100% all cons. But you have to have answers to this. And I told you that the Democratic Party, as far as for his administration, just has to get ahead of him and start saying, oh, this is what they're gonna do next. Even if they're wrong, this is what they're gonna do next. So if they do it, see, we told you. If they don't do it, oh, play one of their tricks. Oh, they didn't do it because we told you to do it. It's impossible to prove a negative, right? So even by going out and being on the offensive, we can attack this man. We can attack his administration. We don't need to sit back idly and wait.
That's right.
Right now, unless something happened while I've been here, ICE is out of money. And the shutdown begins again. And yet they deflect and say, well, that means that TSA won't have money. That means that the Coast Guard won't have money. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. They have enough money to pay for whatever they want. Look, they put up Alligator Alley in eight days at a cost of $426 million to the state, which got reimbursed, right? And they put it up in 8 days. $426 million. We've had homeless veterans in this country since the Civil War. Where's their $426 million?
That's right.
There are a lot of things that we can do with the money we have. And it's never about the lack of money, it's always about their priorities. Who's ever in office? It's not only the Republicans, but it's also the Democrats. And I'm gonna tell you, the extreme left and the extreme right wings are tearing the bird in half. And we gotta stop that. And you cannot talk to MAGA and attack their ideology. And I'm gonna tell you something in psychology that I teach. When your ideology becomes your identity, you are a cult. If you cannot distinguish between what you believe and what you are, you're a cult. And that's what's happened with MAGA. They're not part of MAGA, they are MAGA if you just ask them. They have become the ideology. So you cannot talk to them and try to reason with them. But you can talk to them and tell them this administration has fallen short in their promises. The prices aren't lower. The price of orange juice is going up, right though? Here's why. Here's why. Because of tariffs. So when he got mad at Brazil, they increased the tariffs back in October, and the prices of meat, if you remember, skyrocketed. They've come down a little bit since he removed the tariffs from the meat, and the price of coffee skyrocketed. And they've come down a little bit, but they have not removed the tariffs from the oranges or the orange juice that comes from Brazil. And we're still paying a 45% tariff on orange juice. That's why the prices of orange juice are up. That's why the prices of everything is up. Because if you're the grocer, you're not going to raise the price of orange juice 45%. You're going to raise it 10%. And then the paper cups, 3%. And the plastic forks, 4%. And everything else goes up until they equal 45% of an increase. Because they cannot raise one thing, 45%. But they can raise 11 things, 4%. And then it equals out. That's why groceries are high. It's not because of one item. It's because of paying for that one item and splitting it up. I could talk for hours, I promise you, on a million different subjects. But I don't want to leave without talking about Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, better known as Bad Bunny. He scared the MAGA right to death. There's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, most of people in MAGA don't like diversity, right, at all. But he's an American from Puerto Rico that for over half of the existence of the United States, over 125 years, has been treated so poorly as an island, it's embarrassing. When the Spanish-American War happened, we gained access to Puerto Rico, Cuba, and the Philippines. The Philippines, after World War II, we gave it its independence, a big country. Cuba, we gave it its independence right away, sort of, because we had the Platt Agreement where if we didn't like their leader, we could come in and take over. But Puerto Rico, never. It's not a state, it's a territory. It's not a country, it's a territory. They pay taxes, they can't vote. And if you think, if anybody thinks that they're not patriotic, I will tell you, as a veteran, having served with many Puerto Ricans, and knowing that Puerto Rico, as a territory, compared to any state in the United States, compared to any other territory we have, per capita, has more Medal of Honor winners than any other state. Don't tell me they're not patriotic. And the last thing, before I go, and I don't want to get the horn honked at me. The other thing about Puerto Rico, you want to lower your coffee prices? You want to lower your plantain cost? You want to lower some other stuff? Make it a fair playing field. Not us, but Congress. Why? Because the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, it's easier to bring stuff and import stuff from them than it is from Puerto Rico. They have different standards. Look it up. They can't import their stuff because it's not imported. It's from the United States, so they have different standards to bring their stuff in from Puerto Rico than we do from Jamaica and the Dominican Republic. I picked those countries because they're island nations too, right? There's no difference other than it's Puerto Rico. The Puerto Rican flag, Puerto Rican. Is there anybody with Puerto Rican background here? You'll know. The Puerto Rican flag is the only flag that if you waved it from 1948 to 1957, you went to jail. Or $10,000 fine. It was called the gag order. It was illegal to wave that flag. You want to know why Puerto Ricans fly that flag? Pride. Because they couldn't before. Because they are defiant. Because they grow a goatee. That simple thing. And then there's a change in the flag that they made in 1957. Lady Gaga at the Super Bowl wore a baby blue dress. That was the color of the Puerto Rican flag prior to 1948. It changed in 1957 and became the same color as our great flag here in the darker blue. They changed it, right? We can't allow Puerto Rico to suffer. Throwing paper towels is the most humiliating thing I can imagine to have done after Hurricane Maria, right? It is beneath any human being to stand there and try to catch paper towels as they're thrown to them after a hurricane. My solution to Puerto Rico is statehood. Not everybody will agree with me, but it is my solution to Puerto Rico, and here's why. We normally, like when Alaska and Hawaii came in, we normally bring in these two states at the same time. The second state would be Washington, D.C. People say it's too small. It has a larger population than Wyoming. It has a larger population than New Hampshire, right? So it's not too small population-wise, and you don't even have to change the D.C. to become the Douglas Commonwealth after Frederick Douglass, right? To keep it at DC and Puerto Rico. And that gives us 52 states. It gives us 52 states, and I'm pretty sure it gives us 4 senators that are blue. I'll leave you with one more thing because it's time to protest. Bill, when we were talking back and forth, he's very proud of all of you, especially how you guys respond, how you guys in cold weather have been out there protesting, and he said something to me, or he wrote something to me. It says that your guys' motto, and I might be wrong, correct me, Bill, is you're not alone. Is that right? I'm going to add something to that. You're not alone as long as we stay together. Right? Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. I would like to mention that the lanyards, if you have a business card, that's from us. Share it with some friends. That's basically how do you plug in with the Democratic Club here. The other items are that we're going to be doing a photo op. So feel free to grab a sign. We'll come over here, and Royal will be out here in front. And the other is that if you grab a sign, do not walk from the lobby. Okay, put the sign, go through the back, and we'll be exiting out that way. And if you're in a golf cart, if you can take your golf cart and park it on the other side of the road, that would greatly appreciate it. It'll take off some of the pressure here in the park. So thank you very much. We'll look forward to seeing you next month.